APL, but due to the leadership and management we have here in place in the library, the Albany Public Library continues to be a crown jewel for all of us here in the capital city. I'm proud to call myself a strong supporter of the Albany Public Library, having my first job ever as a library patron at the Pine Hills branch while attending Albany High School. The opportunity that the library provides to our youth, our families, our seniors, and all residents cannot be understated. Literary Legends tonight would not be possible without the support of our sponsors. Our title sponsors, KeyBank and the University of Albany Foundation. Our author level sponsors, Carl and Susan Albert, Elaine Albert, Accuprint CDTA, First Light, and Schenker, Russo, and Clark. Our editor level sponsors, Capcom, Lark Street Photo, Marshall and Sterling Insurance, and Trust Capital Advisors. Our copy editor sponsor, PNG Tech Partners. And thanks again to our honorary committee, and especially you at home. Tonight would not be possible without the dedication, hard work of Lex Bagat, the executive director of the Friends and Foundation of the Albany Public Library, and all of the volunteers on the gala committee. Thank you. Given the virtual nature of tonight's event, we don't have a silent auction this year. We have a special campaign this weekend to raise $8,000 to install Wi-Fi extenders outside 4 APL branches. Text Wi-Fi to 518-547-1005 to donate to this campaign. That being said, it is now my distinct honor to introduce Holly Mckenna. Holly.
Thank you, Joe. That was great. Joe was one of our honorary co-chairs last year. So he's really joined on to help us out, especially this year. But I'd like to welcome everyone to Literary Legends at Home. Little did we know that last year when we said, see you at Pine Hills for the 7th annual gala, that it wouldn't happen because of a global pandemic. We hope everyone is safe, healthy, and employed. During this crisis time, APL has been a lifeline to so many people, quarantining and isolating at home thanks to its virtual programs, events, its vast collection of ebooks, magazines, audiobooks, and more. Now we have curbside pickup, and branches are slowly opening for appointments. And hopefully next spring we can do some outside programming again to get a sense of normalcy in the world. But now it's with great pleasure that we honor author Elisa Albert, and who has been an incredible literary legend. She was so excited to be chosen, and she's just taken the ball and run with it. She's been so accessible and helpful and sharing, and she's been doing events and live programs for us to raise awareness for the foundation and for the library. She's generated tremendous financial support from family and friends to raise money for the library and for this gala. So thank you, Elisa. You are truly a literary legend. Additionally, we're thrilled to honor our third community partners, the third time we've done this, and this year it was the University at Albany's College of Emergency, it's a mouthful, Preparedness, Homeland Security, and Cybersecurity, which we all call CEHC, which has worked closely with APL and the community to keep us all informed and protected during these unprecedented times. The goodwill and hard work generated by Elisa and CEHC are proof that where there is life, there is hope. Now more than ever, we need to remain hopeful and connected as we face more challenges in the days and months ahead. I'm truly grateful to all the people and organizations who make the event every year a huge success. It includes a very long list. And this year, I would like to single out our title sponsors, the University at Albany Foundation and KeyBank, and our wonderful, incredibly engaging honorary co-chairs, Dr. Avidan Rodriguez of U-Albany and Ruth Mahoney of KeyBank. And then this year, I'd also like to remember and support our past food and drinks and small business contributors who have greatly suffered during this crisis. So if you haven't ordered your food yet, now's a chance to support some of our past support from restaurants. And over the last 6 years, we have raised more than $150,000 thanks to you all. And as a result, the money we raise goes directly to fund library programs that tax dollars don't fund. These include dozens of innovative pilot programs each year, like Teen Chef, Sewing 101 at Delaware, the CMOS Traveling Museum at Bach, and the drumming classes at Howe. And thanks to you, the Friends and Foundation has been able to present art at APL with the Alpaca Gallery. And since we merged with the Friends, we will also present, keep doing the Tuesday book talks and the National Library Distinguished Author Program. And your support is also makes it possible to pursue indirect philanthropic support for the library. This year, we secured a major gift from the Carl E. Toohey Foundation to establish an equity fellowship for African-American students studying information science. And we'd like to congratulate Jonathan Maida and Sivion Scott, our first Toohey Library Equity Fellows. This time next year, we hope to finally be back at Pine Hills for another gala. Meanwhile, we hope you have a safe and healthy year. Thank you again for your generosity, and remember that APL can't be as great without your continued support. And please continue to enjoy this fun evening online together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Holly. It is now my pleasure to introduce our honorary co-chairs for tonight's event. Ruth Mahoney, Market President for KeyBank, and Dr. Avidan Rodriguez, President of the University of Albany. We now have a short video that Ruth Mahoney has sent over.
Of the entire KeyBank team, I want to thank Lex and the Friends and Foundation of Albany Public Library for inviting me to be a part of this evening's program. Libraries are inclusive, inspired institutions that bring stories, large and small, to life. Whether fiction or nonfiction, book or resource, they contain what's real, what's important, what's uncomfortable, and what we need to learn. Most importantly, they present boundless opportunities to touch lives and deliver unique human experiences that unite people and communities. Given all that we're experiencing in the world today, this is as important as ever. While many of us often associate libraries with prompts to hush and keep our voices down, the modern library is a hub of activity. From education programs to tax assistance, adult services, youth services, entrepreneurial assistance, art exhibitions, and more, libraries are the ultimate institutions of equity. For the unbelievable price of a no-cost library card, the world of knowledge is placed before you, either at an arm's reach away in the stacks or online with the click of a mouse. Author Tiffany King has said of libraries, and I quote, "Nowhere else in life are you encouraged to take as much as you can. You can walk out of the library door, weighted down by the bulging book bags, or struggling to see around the tower of books balanced in your arms. This is the best kind of indulgence." And I could not agree more. And this is why your support of Albany Public Library is so important right now. We all look forward to a quick recovery and return to normal, but the reality is institutions like Albany Public Library need to pivot and adapt to COVID just like every other industry and organization. And because the services offered here are so vital, the pivot to maintain access and adopt new technologies and expand virtual offerings is so critical. Again, thank you to Lex for the opportunity to join you this evening, and thank you to the Albany Public Library for being such an impactful presence in our community. It's an honor to support and celebrate such a strong pillar of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth, for those kind words. I'd like to now introduce Dr. Avidan Rodriguez, President of the University at Albany.
Thank you, Joe. As always, it's really great to see you, albeit virtually. It's also a pleasure to be here alongside my favorite co-chair and my friend, Ruth Mahoney. Good evening to everybody. Muy buenas noches. And we are truly honored to serve as honorary co-chairs of the 7th Annual Literary Legends Gala this evening. Also, thanks to Holly and Scott for the invitation. As co-chairs of the Capital Region Economic Development Council, Ruth and I work closely with organizations and individuals across our region to enhance the economic vitality of our communities. And as you know, in the midst of a global pandemic, this work is more important than ever. And public libraries are absolutely essential to the vibrancy and quality of life of our communities. As the president of the University at Albany, I view libraries as a critical part of our education pipeline, a place where so many children first fall in love with books, a critical venue for lifelong learning, where people from every neighborhood and every background can come together, can learn together, and can continue to build communities and collaborations across our region and across the globe. Libraries are a true community crossroads. As the Albany Public Library's mission states, you educate, entertain, and empower our community. This evening's event is a strong part of that commitment. I am also very proud that U-Albany's College of Emergency Preparedness, Homeland Security, and Cybersecurity will receive this year's Community Partner Award in recognition of their public engagement, particularly during this pandemic. We at the university are equally proud of their accomplishments and their service. The outstanding work of our faculty, staff, and students in this college has still truly stood out during this pandemic. I am also delighted that Jennifer Goodall, the Vice Dean of CEHC, has also joined us for this evening's celebration. I also want to take this opportunity to thank the Friends and Foundation of the Albany Public Library for the creation of the 2 Library Science Equity Fellows at CEHC with support from the TUI Foundation. This is a great example of your commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, which are also core values that the University at Albany shares and is strongly committed to. Finally, congratulations as well to Elisa Albert for being named this year's literary legend. Elisa has appeared at U-Albany's New York State Writers Institute, and we would love to have her back to do a reading sometime soon. So again, it is a pleasure and an honor to be part of tonight's celebration. As you, I am very much looking forward to the time when we can come together again in person. Until then, thank you all so much for your support of the Friends and Foundation of the Albany Public Library, and thank you for everything that you have done and for everything you will continue to do in support of our communities and our libraries. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and keep reading. Muchísimas gracias y muy buenas noches.
Excellent. Thank you, Avidan, for your kind remarks right there. And again, thank you for the U-Albany Foundation for your support tonight. With that, I'd like to please welcome Scott Jerzombek, the Executive Director of the Albany Public Library, to present our Community Partner Award.
So I'd like to share the story of where this all began. I am a Dane, got my master's in library science when it was a program at SUNY Albany. And when I came back to the area and we found out that the library program was ending up in a school that had Homeland Security in it, we were a little concerned, more than a little concerned. It kind of didn't fit with how many librarians view the world. So we set up a meeting because, you know, instead of just being judgmental and making comments, we decided we wanted to meet with the individuals who are running this school face to face. I think it was 15 minutes into the meeting where we realized that this was an organization in our community that we absolutely needed to partner with and be a part of. The deans at the school at CEHC are fantastic. And a tremendous resource, not just for the SUNY itself, but for the community at large. And the reason why we've decided to award CEHC, the program, our Community Partner Award, has to do with not just the relationship that we've formed with them, I think strengthening their public library track, and also kind of informing us of some things that we should look at differently. But really it comes down to what we've experienced over the last 6 months. And honestly, I like to tell people we had a heads up to what was going on starting in January. The leadership around COVID and the pandemic that's come from the university has informed us in all of our decision making. They have never hesitated to be a resource for someone that we could call and they could point us in the right direction. And they've, you know, I have to say that Jennifer and you know, just have been a solid voice and really have been, Dean Griffin have been just as a sign of leadership that we saw and said we need to strive towards this. So fantastic program. The TUI Fellowship is an incredible thing that I really look forward to, that not only do I think is going to make APL a stronger organization, but my hope is that it makes the field of librarianship or information science even stronger, more diverse. Us partnering together, and a shout out to Deanna, who's here tonight as well, for getting our 3D printers in line with them and coordinating so that we could create PPE while we were in pause, and we're still doing that. And again, just the fact that they have been such a tremendous resource for us to reach out to and get information and to just really point us in the right direction. So I present, and try not to drop because it's heavy, I present the Community Partner Award to CEHC.
Scott, thank you so much. And everybody, thank you. I can't believe you shared that story because that's what I was going to talk about. So 3 years ago, the library science program moved into CEHC, and we heard a whole lot of, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you take the library program? Why would you be together? What a strange name for a college. There's too many words in the name. It doesn't make any sense. And Dean Griffin at the time said it makes perfect sense because preparedness and security are all about data and information. And we said, when there's an emergency, where do people go? They go to the library. So to us, it made sense from the beginning. But now that we're 3 years in, I think this project of us developing the PPE together will be our shining star example of why it makes perfect sense that we would be together. Not only was the library the sort of, you know, the go-to place in an emergency, but the library has resources that people needed. The other thing I just want to say about this project is it was such a community effort. So George Berg and Michael Lazinski are also on tonight, but we had about 60 people who were involved in this project. And we really couldn't have done that without Scott saying, you know, we have a 3D printer that nobody's using right now, and telling Deanna and Nolan, go for it. And we could not have done it without Albany Public, and that sort of led to all of these other partnerships. So I'm so honored and happy and glad that we could do it, and especially glad that we could do it together. My first job was at Albany Public, so I feel like I've really come full circle here. So Scott, Melanie, we're glad to have you on our teaching roster. And I do remember that meeting very fondly, Scott, where we were all sort of light bulbs going off saying there's a whole lot we can do together. So thank you very much.
Again, congratulations to CEHC on receiving tonight's Community Partner Award. This year's literary legend is Elisa Albert. Elisa is the author of the novels After Birth and the Book of Dahlia, the short story collection How This Night Is Different, and editor of the anthology Freud's Blind Spot. Elisa lives here in Albany with her husband Edward and their 11-year-old son. Having grown up in Los Angeles, Elisa received her MFA from Columbia University, where she was a Leni Maz Zumdar Fellow, taught creative writing at Columbia School of Arts, the College of St. Rose, and currently is writer-in-residence at Bennington College. Her fiction and nonfiction work has appeared in Tin House, the New York Times, Post Road, The Guardian, Gulf Coast, Salon, Tablet, the Los Angeles Review of Books, The Believer, The Rumpus, Time Magazine, on NPR, and in many anthologies. To present this year's Literary Legend Award, please welcome via video, New York State Librarian Lauren Moore.
Hi, I'm Lauren Moore. I'm the New York State Librarian, and I'm here today on behalf of the Friends and Foundation of the Albany Public Library to present the 2020 Literary Legends Award to Elisa Albert, one of my favorite novelists.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Friends and Foundation of Albany Public Library. Thank you, readers, writers, library users everywhere. Thank you, Albany.
And without further ado, we have Elisa Albert here joining us tonight. Congratulations, you are tonight's literary legend.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, everybody involved with the Friends and Foundation of the Albany Public Library. Thank you, Dr. Rodriguez. Thank you, Albany. This has been an amazing place to make my home for the past 10 years, and I'm so thrilled to be a recipient of this beautiful award. I was reflecting on my life in and around libraries, and I wanted to shout out the librarian of my elementary school library, Temple Emanuel of Beverly Hills. Librarian was Rhonda Rose, and I have really intense memories of running away to the library to sort of hide out and bury myself in whatever I could find, which was a lot because libraries are full of incredible stuff. One thing in particular I remember at around 11 was stacks of old National Geographics. And it wasn't the content of the magazine that interested me most, but the advertisements from the 60s and the 70s. And I just remember being obsessed with the ads for soda and Coca-Cola, Pepsi, cigarettes in these magazines. And it was okay to sort of drift and explore because I was in the library. I was doing something, productive. And time just vanished that way. And I have a really strong sense memory of the smells and the quiet that I think I've been trying to chase down and recreate pretty much ever since. Currently, well, not anymore, but before the pandemic, I was particularly loving going to the library at the State Museum and working there. It's almost like time stops when you're in a library, and you sort of get a pass and you get to sort of go down whatever wormholes you like. And that's just such a privilege and a luxury that everybody deserves. So shout out to the freedom and the pleasure of time spent in libraries. And I just want to thank this community, this really vibrant, diverse, and ascendant community of which I'm really thrilled to be a part.
Again, congratulations to you once again, Elisa, very well deserved. This concludes the award portion. We can do a round of applause for folks.
Hey!
This will conclude the awards portion for this evening. Again, congrats to Elisa and the University of Albany's College of Emergency Preparedness, Homeland Security, and Cybersecurity. Thank you to all of our sponsors, from our title sponsors, KeyBank and the U-Albany Foundation, our author level sponsors, our editor level sponsors, and copy editor level sponsors. Don't forget to text Wi-Fi to 518-547-1005 to donate to our Wi-Fi campaign. In 5 minutes, Lex will moderate a Q&A with Elisa that you won't want to miss. During these 5 minutes, the breakout rooms will reopen. Thank you again and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you, Joe.
Ooh.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. Yay.
Thank you, Joe.
So I am going to open the rooms again. I believe most people are given the option whether they want to join or not. You will, for those who were in rooms before, you'll be sent back to the rooms that you were in. When you, like I said, at 5 minutes, at 8 o'clock, we will come back together for a Q&A. So,
Quick announcement, Melanie.
Quick announcement.
We have raised $300 for the Wi-Fi campaign. We have to raise $750 by 10 p.m. We have a $750 match. So if anybody can donate to the Wi-Fi campaign and get us up to $750, we have a $750 match.
Fabulous. So I'm going to open the rooms again. And for those who are in rooms, you might be asked to go back. Feel free to walk out if you'd like to. If you'd like to join one of the rooms, we do have 2 rooms available. We have La La Land and Smallbany. If you want to join one of the rooms, just shoot a group chat. If you go to the bottom of your screen, you should see a pop-up that says chat, and that opens up a window where you can type and you can be assigned to one of the rooms. So just if you have a room that you'd like to be assigned to, just let me know. That is either La La Land or Smallbany. We can assign you to one of the rooms. And feel free to stick around here and chat up a bit. And like I said, at 8 o'clock, we will come back and do a question and answer with Elisa. Once again, donations. If you'd like to donate to the Wi-Fi campaign, I just put it in the chat. So feel free. You text Wi-Fi to 518-547-1005. That is 518-547-1005. And that will allow you to donate to our Wi-Fi campaign. So thank you. Feel free to unmute yourselves, chat up a little bit. We welcome the, I don't want to be the only one talking, so feel free to, everybody else can. We've already had discussions of what some of us here are drinking. I have a wonderful rosé kombucha.
I have a 9-pin light cider here, the lavender lemon.
Oh, that sounds good.
It's delicious.
Chocolate covered banana, but it's gone.
Oh, that sounds good too.
I like the lavender.
It's really good.
Light cider is okay.
What was that?
Light cider is okay.
It's okay.
I go more for
Review.
the non-light cider. I was hoping to like it better. Everyone was raving on it, but I must go with the full calorie cider myself, which I think I've run out.
Don't go light.
Yeah.
I'm extending summer. I have a gin and tonic.
Oh, my favorite.
If I was at home
Made with
I would be
Hendrix.
joining you with
Oh, Hendrix is the best.
The Hendrix Midsummer.
Now, have
The
you
original
tried-
mixed drink.
Have you
Yes.
tried Roku?
Yes.
I'm
a connoisseur of different gins.
You and I will have a chat. And I highly recommend if you do the New York core gin.
That was our signature cocktail at our wedding.
What is this apple? What?
It's
core harvest lemon Melanie.
Well, I was just gonna say it's Harvest Core. It's a apple-based gin. I highly recommend it with apple cider and seltzer for a wonderful fall.
So good.
Well, last weekend my daughter and I went to Massachusetts to start emptying out my dad's house, and she threw out a lot of apple flavored liquor. So look at Joe.
Core
she smelled it, and she's like, "Oh."
Core is made by Harvest Spirits, right in Columbia County.
I was going to say, is
And
that local?
As I said, it was our signature cocktail. Was the Core gin and tonic.
All right.
Yeah,
I'll have to try it.
it's delicious. It's delicious.
Very nice. So
I
we
missed
are,
that.
for those of you that we did have a couple just pop in, we are getting ready for our question and answer session led by Lex with our honoree this evening, Elisa Albert. So I think we're just about at that time, Lex, if you'd like to take this over. Did he come?
He's missing.
He might be in the Smallbany room.
Yeah.
I will have to chat him and bring him back.
So you guys are all dressed up. I'm just wearing my U-Albany sweatshirt for the occasion.
Oh, that's pretty cool though.
I did
What's your background?
I don't know. My husband, first of all, I couldn't find my equipment for this. Oh, look, she has the Albany Public Library socks on.
I do
Awesome.
have my Albany Public Library socks this evening.
And yeah, I don't know what some background my husband set up.
Whoa, I love your background, Susan.
Is it the earth?
I don't know what it is. It's something that he set up.
It looks like the Earth from space.
Maybe. Or it could just be the
okay.
mountains. I don't know what it is.
So do we have Elisa here?
She might be in La La Land talking to her mom and dad.
That's what I was-
Yes, we can let her talk to her mom and dad.
Let me just see here, 1 second.
So I just want to say hi, everyone. I'm here. I'm listening.
Hi,
Hi.
Hello.
So I have a glass of wine. I don't know what kind of wine it is. I bought it from Post. It's so fancy. It doesn't even say what kind of wine. Like, how do you know when it's just a label?
Is it in French?
Yeah, it's in French. It doesn't say
Show
like
us the label.
Chardonnay.
You've got library.
You just look at it, and if it's white, if it's light, it's white. If it's dark,
That's about
it's
as far as
red.
I got. It's quite good.
I was gonna say, are you enjoying it? That's all that matters.
Yeah. Also, it was $22, which is like the most I've ever paid for a bottle of wine.
Okay, and it looks like we do have Elisa here in the room. So I'm going to turn this over now to Lex for
Great. And can we mute everybody else? We have a little bit of echo on the stream, which is beautiful. I'm a big fan of that audio art piece, Boomerang, where you hear the echo of things, but we have quite a bit of an audio boomerang on the stream. So.
Okay, so I am going.
La La Land needs to be called back, I think.
They're stuck. They're stuck in La La Land. Somebody's posted.
Of course they are.
Oh, there's Elisa.
It's hard to get out of love.
Okay, so is it just me and Elisa now for a minute?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Elisa, how are you? Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm swell.
You're the best literary legend we could have possibly had for 2020 to roll with all of these uncertainties.
Well, we do what we can. We gotta keep chugging.
Yeah. So everybody in La La Land is still in La La Land, but I'm going to open the chat. So anyone who has questions, let us know, and we will unmute you. Okay. We've got new people coming in. So Elisa,
yeah,
you've been writing a new book this year?
I've been writing a new book for about 5 years.
5 years.
But yes.
Will you tell us about your new book a little bit?
Yeah, it's a novel, and it's kind of a maximalist novel that deals with music, performance, fame, fertility, the internet, all the things. There's a lot going on. And the Ghost of Amy Winehouse.
Is the name right? The Ghost of Amy Winehouse.
Mm-hmm. She's hard to get, let me tell you.
Where's Amy Winehouse born?
London, North London. Vibrant Jewish community.
And have you been reading? Did you read Swing Time this year?
I haven't yet, no.
Do you think that the Amy in Swing Time is of any relation to Amy Winehouse?
I should check that. I don't have an opinion now, but I should read it and find out.
And what have you been reading during pandemic?
Well, I have a little stack right here. Okay. So here's some of my favorites from the last few months. Okay.
People are asking for your recommendations. Yes.
Samantha Irby, they're all over Instagram. I put a lot of book recs on Instagram. So Samantha Irby, hilarious, delightful, just a really incredible voice. Laugh out loud. Who is she?
Yeah.
She is. She lived in Chicago. Her bio is Samantha Irby is a writer whose work you can find on the internet. She's great. She's an essayist, so they're all essays. I've been madly in love with J. California Cooper, whose work I just discovered last year, and now I've sort of have a stack of all her books because I think she's delicious. She reminds me of Lucia Berlin, who I also adore, her short stories. This is pretty mind-blowing. I didn't know, I had a vague idea that Mother Jones was like the hero of the working poor and like a labor leader. But what I didn't know was that her work as a union activist and agitator began after she lost all 4 of her small children and her husband in the yellow fever epidemic of 1867. So, you know, when you got nothing to lose. This, by a good friend of mine, is pretty mind-blowing. For any fans of Michael Pollan or Bessel van der Kolk, The Body Keeps the Score. This is another really useful, good one. Good chemistry. Her first book was called Moody Bitches. Also highly recommend that. This one, also a dear friend, utterly hilarious, just priceless satire. So on the nose, to die for. And then, of course, my favorite. This is newly published.
Who wrote that?
This amazing Albany writer. Who knew, right? Oh, there he is. He's astounding. He's truly, he's just blows my mind. No, highly recommend it. Out this month from SUNY Press. And I just am in the middle of this beautiful, beautiful novel. Very arresting. And then last but not least, I apologize to the owner of the Airbnb from whence I stole this book, but it's really
terrible.
I know. It was a rip-off Airbnb, though. I felt slightly justified. It was a real bad situation. But this is a classic. I've been wanting to read it for a long time.
What happens in it?
The whole book is just structured. I remember. It's like prose poetry, really. Nothing happens, but everything happens, you know, like all the best books, in my opinion. So those are some of my favorites from the last, you know, few months. Yeah.
So Elisa, it's fair to say that you've been reading during pandemic.
Yeah.
As many of us have. That's like a good way to spend it. But do books matter now? Do they really matter still?
Yes.
Tell us why.
Why does the printed word matter?
Is that too big?
Perhaps.
I could see if the audience has a smaller question. Jenna Patera wants to know how you ended up in Albany, even though you answered that question last time with Jay Dyke. But you could tell it again.
I ended up in Albany because I fell in love with a brilliant SUNY professor who happens to be so yeah, it was sort of a caveman situation. He clubbed me and dragged me, and next thing I knew, there I was.
Okay, well, so that'll be the last question. Why does the printed word still matter in 2020 when everything is crazy? But in the meantime, let's see if anybody in this beautiful chat room here, there's like 40 people here. Do any of you have questions? Does anybody have a question? Melanie can unmute you. It looks like Rebecca's reaching to chat.
What is it? I see some in chat. What is a book you think everyone should read? That's a great question. What is a book that everyone should read? The Autobiography of Malcolm X, The Diary of Anne Frank, The Old Testament. Help me out. What is a book that everyone should read? I don't know that there's a book everyone should read. Although there are some books that make it easier to be in conversation with the rest of, you know, literate humanity, having read. But I think like every individual has their own books that they need to read, and the only way to find that out is to sort of follow your own trail of breadcrumbs, you know.
Yeah. What was
Albany met or different from expectations? How did Albany? I didn't have any expectations because I couldn't have found Albany on a map before I moved here. Honestly, I mean, I was one of those people who really irritate me now. Who are like, is it really cold up there? Like, it's not Rochester, it's not Syracuse, it's not Buffalo. So I didn't really have any expectations at all, which is a nice way to experience something, you know. I've heard it said that the secret to happiness is low expectations, and I think that's very true.
Okay, so is really no one going to ask a question? We have to get to the last question of what is the value of the printed word in 2020?
Lex, I have a question. It's Lauren.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, so I'm always like, I'm really interested in happy endings. So After Birth, which I just reread because I loved it so much. I was thinking about the ending and like the little, the glimmer, the little thing at the end that says like, yeah, like these women can have healthy, happy relationships. And we think there's like, and I've asked this question of other authors who have also like a little happy ending at the end. Was that important to you? Like, is that how you wanted to end it? Or did you feel like you needed to end it that way?
Yeah.
To sell the book.
I think that my first novel ended with the narrator's death. So I think I really wanted in that one to sort of reach for as happy an ending as I could live with, as seemed plausible and realistic. And I think within the scope of a novel that takes place over 3 months, it would have been really insulting to the reader's intelligence to sort of have things be resolved. I just don't believe in resolution. I believe in like evolution, and I believe in evolution. Darwin is a book everyone should read. Origin of the Species. And so that turned like that, like 5% shift seemed like such a happy ending to me. That little like, opening, the door just unlocked and cracked. I think if and when that ever happens in life, that is like seismic,
Yep. Yeah, I know. I felt the same way, like reading it this time, especially. I was like, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. It's a big turn, even though, just like you said, like the best novels, not much happens, but I felt that. And that's great. Thank you for that.
I'm so glad. That's exactly what I hoped for. That's all I wanted. A glimmer.
Any more questions from the audience?
I did see one. Jenna asked how Albany met or differed from your expectations.
Low expectations. So, I mean, it just exceeded every single low expectation I had. Wow. I see a question here. How do you think the pandemic the literary
question. During the pandemic or after the pandemic?
Come again?
I saw a question about how do you think the pandemic, from Kimberly, how do you think the pandemic will affect the literary world in terms of content?
I think there will be a lot of pandemic content. Unavoidably, some good, some perhaps less interesting. I did read, right at the beginning of the pandemic, I read a great novel published in 2018 by a writer named Ling Ma called Severance. I don't have it handy, but, and it was a pandemic novel written a few years ago. Ed's volunteered to go get it. It's really good. And it's a worse virus, it's like everybody dies kind of thing. So it was actually very comforting to read in the first weeks of the pandemic, because as the world was really collectively losing its mind. Thanks. The Book Fairy. Severance. Fantastic novel. But, and also like things can always be worse is a really, like low expectations is a secret to happiness. Things can always be worse is not the worst approach. So as bad as things are and as bad as things have gotten and as bad as things continue to get, here's a nice escape into how much worse it could be, so that when you're done, you're like, wow, okay, we're fine. Like it's gonna be okay, Pandemic. It's hard to say. Although, it was an arresting moment to be in the final throes of a novel that I've been working on for 5 years, suddenly thinking like, well, geez, now the world that I've constructed in this novel is like gone. The same way it's like sometimes I'm watching TV or reading a book right now and people are hugging and kissing or in crowds and I'm like, what are you doing? But I don't know. I think the world is big enough for all of these things to continue to exist in our minds and imaginations, I hope. What else? Do you think we should deface all book covers that we despise? From Laurel and Dave.
Who would do a thing like that?
Why are you asking me that, Laurel and Dave? Is it because you want me to face the book cover? I've only done that a few times. And I always own the book. Sometimes I make it better, or I just add in a word. No, I don't think you should deface books. I think you should burn them if they're terrible. No, don't do that either. I think book covers are problematic, and if there's a book that like you love so much and it has a crappy cover, I love improving a book cover with like sharp or washi tape, or or just taking off the dust jacket and drawing on the. But I'm kind of visual, so. And sometimes a book has like a beautiful cover and it's a real turd, in which case, anyway. What else? Can you talk about
Jenna Patera asks if you could talk about your new novel.
Yeah. I can. Yes, I can. Do you like to read books, Kindle, or listen on audio? I will. I like to read books. I don't like Kindle and I don't like audio. Okay, Danny Goodwin, new novel. Yeah, what else do you want to know? Ask me something specific. It's kind of a maximalist book, so it's got a little of everything for everyone.
Melody, can we unmute Danny Goodwin?
I can't unmute anybody. I think they have to unmute themselves.
Danny Goodwin, you got to speak now if you want to get Elisa to talk about this.
Yeah, I know how that works.
Danny Goodwin.
Danny Zooms all the time. He's a Zoom master.
I live in Zoom. I invented Zoom. No, that's it. I don't have anything else. Just talk more.
Talk more. Talk
more.
Talk more.
Talk more.
Wait, what does it say in Hamilton? Talk less. No. Smile more. Don't let them know what you're against or what you're for. That's what my new novel is. It's like I'm gonna try to talk less and smile more and not let them know what I'm against or what I'm for. That's my plan.
That's good. Can you sing another song?
Yeah.
Wait for it. That's the best song in Hamilton, arguably.
We haven't seen it.
If you disagree.
Yeah, should we close with that? Are there a lot of Hamilton fans who want to have a big sing-along to close out?
No, there's more questions. I know there's more questions. I know somebody's daughter burned their
All right,
math
so
book.
I think mine got lost in the shuffle. So my question is, now that you've been bestowed with this Literary Legends Award, like inspiration, pressure on you now that you have that in your hands?
I feel like it's gonna be edifying. I love it. I'm gonna put it on the shelf, and when I have a bad day, I'm gonna like look at it and say like, buck up. You're a goddamn literary legend. Like, pedal to the metal. Get up. So I think it's gonna be edifying. I think it's gonna be really good. It's beautiful. It's lovely.
I know you write both short and kind of long form. Which do you prefer? Do you like a short story, or do you like writing more in the novel form?
Whichever one I'm doing, I am really bitter and I want to be doing the other one. So now that as soon as I'm done with this novel, which is going to be any second, I'm immediately writing only short stories for the foreseeable future. And I have half a dozen that are sort of sitting there half finished, begging. And I cannot wait to get back to them. And I feel like it's anybody who's given birth, as the minute you're done giving birth, if somebody's ever when are you gonna have another baby? You're just die, So it's as far as I'm concerned right now, I'm never writing another novel, ever. That's never happening again. As soon as this one is done, it's adios. But after writing short stories for the next phase, maybe I'll yearn for long form again. But it's just a marathon. It's like marathon versus sprint,
do you work on more than one project at a time? So I know you're working on this novel, but you said do you have ideas or
Yeah.
are you writing short also in between doing the novel?
Yeah. So, everything. So I take breaks and do something that's sort of like finite and accomplishable before I kind of go back into this endless vortex. And I kind of have like, I have like cheat days where it's like, I just can't face this monster today. So I'm going to work on this other little thing. And, too much of that can be a little bit of a hamster wheel so that it feels like you never finish anything. But, some days, you just can't face whatever the thing is. And sometimes the work is better for a little distance, take a break, work on something else, come back, see it with fresh eyes. So, I mean, the only like really hard and fast rule is like the ass has to be in the chair,
Mhm.
Like
That's what Trumpa said.
Wow.
No, he said to the pillow.
He who shall not be named. Yeah.
Do you know how your story will end before like when you've had the idea, do you know how you want it to end, or is it a process and you see where it takes you?
Sometimes both. It changes. So sometimes I totally know, and the whole, process is working toward that idea or vision or ending. And sometimes I have no idea, and I'm looking and looking and looking for it.
I'll throw out a question there. As a non-author, myself and I'm sure others tend to find books are a form of escape. But as an author, that's more of your work, so it's not an escape for you. What are other sources of escape for you?
That's a great question. Music, movies, art, good TV, all the usual. The outdoors, yoga, but books really, I find a lot of inspiration and sort of energy in books. And when I feel stuck or uninspired, it's really always available in books. Like, oh, why am I doing this again? What's the use of this medium? Why am I like, who cares? Like, oh, here's something beautiful I can dip into and be reminded of like what this energy is about, and like why I'm doing this. Like, what is it that this medium can do that other mediums can't? So it's always available. It's just, we're all our own curators. So I don't read books that I find flat or uninspiring or cliche, or, the books that don't do that for me, I don't want.
Mm. So, okay, final question. I'm going to give you a choice. You referenced, actually, we have a question from Kim Parker. If she wants to talk. Kim is asking, if somebody had one day in Albany, what would you recommend they do?
Okay. What season is it, first of all?
Kim, what season is it? This is the penultimate question.
It's fall. It's definitely fall, because that's my favorite season.
Okay. You have a day in Albany. It's fall. Okay. You roll out of bed. It's around 9. You walk on it depends what day of the week it is too. Is 3 Fish open?
Yeah, it's open.
Okay. Is JoJo doing pop-up food? Is it a Thursday or Friday? Okay. You roll on over to 3 Fish. You sit in the backyard. You got your journal. You got your book. You got your maybe you've got like a friend. You got your dog. You kick back for a while. You read a little, you write a little, you look around, you people watch, you chit chat. You go to the park, you walk all around the park, you walk around the lake. Hi, I see Jenna's cute little boy. You walk around the lake, you walk around you go to the dog field, you hang out there, you chit chat with the folks in the dog park for a while. Then you walk down, you go the long way around, like down State Street, like through like the kind of pine forest. You walk down Lark Street, then you go down to like Hudson J Park. You sit there for a while with your book and your dog and your friend. Then you go to the plaza. Maybe you take your dog home. Maybe you take your bike to the plaza. Then you get on your bike, go down to the plaza, do a little loop, then go all the way down to the river, then ride to Waterfleet, stop at Donut Place. Is this pre-pandemic? This is like an ideal day. Okay. You stop at the Donut Place on Pearl, and then you got to ride all the way back uphill back to Center Square, because I'm assuming you live like on my block. And you ride all the way back up. You're super sweaty. You take a nice shower. You do some garden work for a while. What am I missing? You go to Post. You sit out at Post. You just want to be outside as much as possible, with your book and your journal, on foot or on your bike. Then at sunset, you go back down to the plaza, watch the skateboarders for a while. What am I forgetting? You don't get in your car ever, because why do you live here if you want to live in your car? And maybe you walk up Madison. You walk over, you probably walk toward like, the Madison Theater. You just kind of, you walk a lot.
That sounds like a lovely day.
That's what you do. You run into your neighbors, you chit chat. That's all I got.
Sounds perfect.
Yeah. So Elisa, now we're nearing the end. You have referenced musicals. So is Hamilton your favorite musical?
No.
What's your favorite musical?
Rent, bar none.
Rent?
Yeah. It's very personal.
So can we so either you have to sing a song from Rent or tell us the meaning of the written word in 2020.
The meaning of the written word in 2020. I will tell you that when I was 20, I auditioned for the national company of Rent, but I didn't make any.
That's terrible.
No.
What awful judges. We
I
should
was
write them a
40.
letter.
I know. I would have been a musical theater actress if I had had my way, but I'm a writer.
Are you gonna sing it or not?
You need to sing.
I'm saying.
I'm gonna save her here. You do not need to sing. I have a question. A favorite branch of APL and why?
I love the one nearest me, the main branch. I love the Pine Hills branch. That's where we get
We
our
call it Washington.
Washington.
Yes.
Jess Cherry says Rent. We have a hope after the pandemic. I'm sorry, I'm going back for a second. After the pandemic, you know how they used to have, when I was growing up, they had Rocky Horror Picture Show sing-alongs, live ones. We have this dream of having like a Rent week, like monthly sing-along, like in the Madison Theater. And you have to like come dressed up as your favorite character.
You should
right?
do it, or even once a year.
No, like once a month.
It's the perfect activity for our generation.
I think so too. Oh my God, I will do Rent. We join.
Okay.
All right, let's go. That's perfect. Perfect.
So we're going to send an email out. The Friends and Foundation of the Albany Public Library will send an email out to build up a list of people who are interested in joining your monthly Rent sing-along. And Elisa, congratulations on being Literary Legend for 2020. You have been the best literary legend ever. And we're going to end this broadcast in a minute. I don't know if Joe wants to get on to say goodbye to the YouTube audience at the last minute. And then the Zoom stays on for as long as you guys like. So thank you so much, Elisa.
Thanks, Lex.
Okay, so did we lose Joe?
Maybe we lost Joe. Oh, wait, Rebecca.
I'm right here.
Rebecca.
Oh, there we are.
Okay. Joe, do you want to say a last word to the broadcast audience before we turn off the stream to the YouTube?
Absolutely. Well, thank you everybody for watching at home. And again, this has been Literary Legends. And if you want to donate, one more last plug for this, text Wi-Fi to 518-547-1005 to donate to our Wi-Fi campaign. Again, thank you. And